am taking on my dad in a versus challenge as we race to win the Super League, with the winner of the challenge not only having to win the European Super League trophy, but also the massive knockout tournament, the European Champions Cup. And so once one of us has eventually lifted both trophies, they will be declared the winner. And we started this journey in Tier 3, where there is 192 different clubs as the managers of FC20 and Malmo. With me getting so close in season number 4 to completing the challenge in just one season, Dad must be relieved he's joining me in the Super League for season number 5. Although a lot of my success this year is down to my star striker Nelson Viper, who picked up the golden boot. Without him scoring in almost every game he stepped out onto the pitch, it could have been a different story. But Dad is struggling financially in terms of the transfer revenue his club is trying to generate, so he's requested for it to be upped. Luckily, they accepted his request, but it's still only at 55% of any player he sells. He's still active in buying players almost immediately though, picking up Tom Cannon for a very low fee. But his board did give him over £100 million to spend, and his scouts have found him a wonderful player up front in Belgium. The 19-year-old has the basics to be a great player and the potential to be game-changing for Dad, so he puts in an offer. Stan and Liège obviously know they have quite a talent on their hands in Roman Thierry and are playing hardball to begin with, but eventually Dad manages to get his man signed for FC20. And immediately, Dad is on individual training trying to get him to beat the offside trap. Back in Sweden, I'm spending £40 million on a player at Millwall who might be a bit of a gamble but can play naturally in 2 positions. But there is more names coming through the door as I also pick up a £30 million left back in Bartasagi, as well as bringing in Carlos Baleba after a season he had on loan here 2 seasons ago went so well, and I'm almost done this summer. It's Dad's turn to splash some more cash, bringing in a centre midfield just short of £20 million. It ain't just the players that Dad's looking to upgrade either, as he's brought in a brand new assistant manager as well as overhauling the backroom staff. An upgrading goal was next on my list, and Verbruggen gives me that as another Brighton player joins Malmo. Although I have Röslev and he has been good, Calvin Ramsey creates competition for positions and is a great attacking fullback. Also, he isn't ready to move yet, but my scouts found a player whose contract is up in the December, and I'm going for him despite not using wingers. Dad and I both failed to realise though that the transfer window had passed, and we both tried signing more players to improve our squad. Oops. Also, by the looks of it, we both missed the transfer window, and we both have players that will be joining us in January.
We haven't been doing this very long, have we?
No. I mean, I've got one player coming in that I knew was coming in January because he runs out of contract. I mean, Harold Sinistera. I'm not playing wingers, but I ain't turning that down for a free transfer.
No, you can't do that, can you?
I'm happy just to loan him out. Maybe, every now and then just give him a game time or two. But yeah, cash in on him big time. That could be huge. And then I'm also going for this guy here, although I don't know whether it'll go through because of my money situation. I'm happy if it does. I don't mind if it doesn't, to be honest. I've got £20 million left. It should go through. We'll see what happens. But Dad, yourself, I mean, you've got 3 players. 2 of them are actually loans.
Yeah, I wanted them for now, to be honest with you, so I'm a bit disappointed, really. Whether I'll be in a good enough position that they'll help me out at the end of the season, I don't know, but...
Yeah. And then Pellegrini as a permanent.
Yeah, he was always going to be a reserve striker for me, so I thought for that price I wasn't going to let him go, so yeah.
As we say, 1st of September, the transfer window closed on us quite surprisingly, so we don't have those guys in. Nevertheless, we have strengthened our squads. And your first season in the Super League, Dad, you've got quite a lot of players coming in and you didn't sell any players.
I'm not going to sell anybody when I'm only getting 55%. Venue back, so nope, I'm not selling anybody.
Yeah, the beauty about this database is that hopefully within a season or 2 you'll have enough in the bank if you stay here, to be able to get that back up to 100. But we've got the likes of Gagliardini coming in, who's a good midfielder, although 9 million on a 33-year-old, that's very unlike you.
Yeah, I know, but it's you just got to get certain players I just couldn't get.
Yeah.
One, I didn't have enough money, or 2, they didn't want to come to me, did they, really?
No, that's true. Baloka's good midfielder for £6 million. Dennis Serkin plays naturally in both positions there. It's a good option. Tom Cannon's more of a backup. in that striker alert. Son, £19 million, quite a well-rounded midfielder, really. Does a job in a number of different roles.
It's squad players. I'm buying squad players at the moment. I'm going to struggle to improve my players at the moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm buying squad players.
Doesn't look like a man from Iceland.
No, he doesn't.
But nevertheless, Kasper Karlsson, who plays kind of naturally on the wing or in centre midfield, again, gives you options, I guess,
that's right,
what
yeah.
he does.
And strengthening the midfield up completely, really. So.
Yeah. But the man that you have brought in as your focal point,
this is the guy I'm hoping he'll do it for me.
Roman Thierry.
Yeah, he's only 19 as well, so he's a good striker. So hopefully he'll get better.
I mean, he's pacey, has great off-the-ball techniques, obviously something as well.
Yeah.
Aggression's good enough to give you a good pressing forward.
Yeah, and his composure's good.
And you're already training to beat the offside trap.
Yeah.
Which, as everybody knows, is my favourite one.
You can't win a game unless you score a goal.
Yeah, that's true.
So there you go.
So far, he's got you 3 goals and 3 assists in 12 games. That's good enough.
Yeah, I'll take it. I would have hoped a bit more. I would like to have seen that around about 7, really.
Yeah. I mean, he got 16 last season in the tier that you were in, but it looks like he kind of helped Standard Liège get promoted the season before from tier 3. But yeah, you're kind of hoping he keeps you in the Super League.
That's what I need for the next season, I think.
Yeah. Going for a diamond formation, are we?
Yes, yeah. I mean, you see me, I bought a couple of wingers, so I'll go for that as well. Took the stick him out wide. So hopefully this does it. 2 up front. I've got a second striker to go in with him, so yeah, quite happy with that. Okay,
Janssen, of course, who you brought in last season or the season before, he's got a bit of an injury at the start of the season, but he's developing all right, and he goes in there as the first team player, which is what you was kind of hoping. You locked him in, I think, previously.
Yeah, I did, yeah. The left back goes in, so quite happy with that.
Your schedule so far then, before we have a look at me, and we've already played against each other, by the way, but you did have to come to my ground, and of course I was the Super League runner-up, so it was always a very hard game to go to, and although you took the lead in the 11th minute from Evan Gasson, it was a 3-1 victory for Malmo. There's a lot of reds, but I think what you got to remember, there's 47 games.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the Reds that are there as well, some of them are good teams as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
You're playing the best of the best.
I beat Liverpool, so I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, 3-1 as well. Wasn't exactly an easy game, was it?
That's right, yeah. So, I mean, losing 1-0 against Barcelona...
Benfica in your first game.
Yeah, take that.
I think you've got to be quite happy with
Juventus, that. Barcelona, that's the teams I'm losing against yourself. Yeah. So, I'm happy with that.
You're 20th in the Super League, and everybody's like, 20th? No, that's halfway through. There's 48 teams in this league, remember. The top 32 stay up. The 33 is the first relegation spot. But let's have a look at who else I've brought in. We've seen quite a lot of them, to be honest. I've spent quite a lot of money. Some of it is through installments, gambling on the fact that I will get money keep coming in, because I think I didn't want to sell anybody out of my first team after how good they did. And the offers that were coming in were just for my first team players. I didn't exactly want to replace them. I do get 100%. As we say, I've got £20 million left. But I think what I've managed to do is replace first team players with just slightly better players. And that's my plan for this season, is to keep trudging along. I even brought in Baleba after obviously loaning him previously from Brighton. He went back to Brighton for a season, did quite well in terms of development after the loan signing I made. And now I've bought him for 71 million. It's a lot of money, but he's already got 2 goals and 2 assists and a really good average rating.
Yeah.
Carlos Baleba, only 23 years of age, a really fantastic centre mid. But I also brought in Brighton's keeper as well, Verbruggen, who again is a slight upgrade to what I already had. And now I'm pretty sure I now have both of Liverpool's fullbacks, young fullbacks that they have. But anyway, Rodgers, I'm locking in. I'm locking in James Rodgers on that left-hand side. I think giving him a bit of game time, then we can see how well he develops. That's my thinking there. Bought him in from Millwall for 41 million. It's a lot of money, but he could be worth more. Yeah. He's already worth more now, but in the future, he could be worth more to me in terms of a first-team player if he develops and grows, or I cash in and bring in somebody who I think is better. And schedule-wise, I've had a great start. Yes. An unbeaten start, in fact. I've dropped silly points.
You're going to win this league.
Exactly. I mean, I drew to Ipswich. I think they were newly promoted. I don't remember playing them last season. Leicester as well. That's 2 home games where I failed to win. That's 2 home games that I should be winning. But the away fixtures, West Ham, Villa, Leipzig, hey, I didn't lose. Nope. And that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
The games that I did win, I'm not conceding that many goals either. which I'm kind of happy with. Only 2 goals against Betis, 2 goals against Newcastle, and the other wins, only a 1 goal here and there, a couple of clean sheets. I'm really happy with how this season started. So season number 5 in the Super League, I came this close to completing the challenge in 1 season. Let's see if I can push one of those trophies over the line.
I'm sweating.
This season, as Dad finally is challenging for the European Super League as well. So my Malmo side gave Dad a reality check for sure as a welcome gift to the Super League early doors. But Dad was hoping his FC20 side was strong enough to avoid the 16-team relegation drop. It wasn't good enough, however, to make it to the Champions Cup 3rd round as the team from the 2nd tier defeated FC20 quite comfortably. For now though, he was sat 5 points out from trouble in 26th place, which I'm sure he would take at the end of the season. But there's a familiar name leading the goal scoring charts. Yes, even though there was a lot of new faces in my Malmo side, they all knew that they were there to feed Nelson to score goals. And some of our opponents never stood a chance as he picked up multiple goals in some matches. He does have his bad days though, like when he failed to score in the 3rd round of the Champions Cup, which we were eliminated by Spurs. However, there wasn't many days off for Viper, as he tended to score in most games, and that meant we weren't far off the title picture again this season. Unfortunately for me though, Real Madrid were still just too hard to catch, but I can see some great development in my squad. Now on the other end of the table though, it was a rough time for Dad, who also took a hammering from Real Madrid in April. However, a couple of real big wins late on in the season might have just saved Dad for another year in the Super League. Well, Dad, you survived by the skin of your teeth there. 4 points.
I was getting worried at the end of the season. I lost a couple of games at the end there, and it was pushing me right into it.
Yeah.
Those 2 games I won just before that, they were the saviours, I think.
I mean, this one as well.
91st minute.
91st minute against Manchester City. Huge.
Take that any day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely huge. I mean, in terms of the Super League, I'm up there again. I'm still quite far behind Real Madrid.
11 points, but you're still there though.
But I'm in a top 3 position,
Yeah.
and I think Nelson Viper, 44 goals again. He's in a league of his own. This man is absolutely a beast of a striker. Huge amount of goals so far for me in a Malmo shirt. Mbappe is the only one who had a higher average rating as well. But yeah, you've done quite well just to survive your first season. That's the main goal here.
I would say that's the main thing. I've survived. I'm pleased with that. I'm not happy that I've been that far down, but I'm in there still.
Again, because of how many clubs go down.
Yeah.
I don't think you could be too displeased about it.
No.
And if you look at points as well, 57. One more win, minus 8, would put you 27th.
Yeah.
So you're not far off, really, from having a comfortable position in the 20s.
If I had won those 2 last games of the season,
you jump straight up.
Right up.
Yeah, you jump up to like 23rd. You're bossing. So
that's how good this league is.
Yeah, and you're just a couple of players away, I reckon, as well as the money situation that comes in. But the trouble is, neither of us had very good Champions Cup campaigns. You were out in the 2nd round by a team, to be honest, you should be beaten. They're in the 2nd tier. And myself, I mean, I lost to Spurs, so I really should be ashamed of myself.
Team. You lost against a top team there, mate.
They finished in 15th place in the Super League. But again, only 3rd round. And we know there's no money in that. No money in that whatsoever.
Big money when you get like to semi-final.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of finance, we've seen how much it gave me last season.
Yeah.
Huge amounts of transfer budget. In terms of finances, I've got 210 million in the bank, but they're only giving me 90 million pound this summer. So again, it's smart and realistic. They're not like keep chucking you loads of money all the time. I'm fine with that, to be honest. I think there's some players that this season I can sell and cash in. And the money is good as well. You can see even some players that maybe didn't play as many games, saying my backup left back, for instance, he's worth 30 million. I can cash in. There's clubs who want him. If I decided to sell him, I could bring in potentially 30 million pound.
Yeah.
For a player that only played 16 games for me. So there is money to be made, especially across both of these squads. And yourself, Dad, I mean, you've got a transfer budget of 48 million, but that's because financially, of course, you haven't got as much because of the previous season.
Yeah, that's right.
Still only on a 55% transfer revenue.
To be honest, because I finished so low, I didn't get the win bonuses. So
yeah,
I'm pleased with that.
Yeah.
For the amount of games that I've won, I've got to be pleased with that.
It's a starting point for sure. And as we said, there is money again in your squad too. If you're looking at players that didn't necessarily play as much, you got a Tom Cannon, for instance, 16 million. You only paid two or three.
I only get 8 million from really, didn't I?
Yeah, that's the trouble. It's only half.
Do I sell other players or just just add to the squad, and hopefully I can just get a little gem somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for, really.
Your two loanees come in January. They play quite a lot of games, as you can see there, but unfortunately, of course, you won't be getting them, as did Pietro Pellegrini, but I can't see. There he is.
Yeah.
He didn't play that many games at all. He only played 3 and scored 1 goal. The players that I brought in the window, I mean, one of them didn't end up going through. I did say that the Dundee defender might not go through, but Sinistera did. He is obviously confirmed, and he is in the squad. He didn't play any games, unfortunately, because of course he plays in a different position.
I was looking at him in your squad build up there, and he's worth 63 to 88 million.
Yeah,
you've got him on a free.
On a free,
so
and I haven't played a game.
If you cashed in on him,
yeah,
you say you got 50 million for him. What a deal that is!
Yeah, exactly. And I've got 100% of my transfer revenue. So at the minute, I'm in a good situation. The trouble is the Super League is way harder than what you think it is to be number 1.
Yes,
it's all right having a good season and finishing 2nd, 3rd, but this Real Madrid team is hardly chumps, are they? I mean. Ridiculous, really. This is going to be rather difficult. Let's look at the statistics then. Nelson Viper got 45 in 47 games. Unbelievable talent. How are nobody's wanting him? I don't understand.
Weird,
it's so strange.
Really weird.
I mean, please don't come in.
It just makes you look a lot easier, doesn't it?
He is an awful player. Terrible attitude. You don't want him in your squad. Junior Krupi, though, 22 and 10 in that centre attacking midfield spot. The growth on development on him. Oh, already.
So that's the player I think you're going to struggle to keep.
Krupi?
Yeah. I think it's just something different about him that you think, team's going to come in for him.
He plays naturally in 2 positions as well. And you put him in either of those positions, and he's world class.
Yeah.
I mean, passing and finishing's good, so centre attack midfield makes sense. But then you play him up front, it's like, oh, he's pacey. Oh, he can finish. Yeah. He's got good composure and good off the ball. He should be a good finisher too. Yeah. James Rodgers, who I nailed into that position, 32 games he played eventually, can also play naturally in both. Nice bit of development too. We can see the dribbling's gone up a little bit here. So the progress that we're seeing in terms of attributes across the season has been good enough for me to think that was a good idea, nailing him into that position. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy this season.
I would be with that, yeah.
No trophies, no further than what I got. In fact, a lot further off from what I had last season. But it's the development that counts.
I think from what we're looking at already, you can see that the cup could be a little bit easier to win than the league. I think the league, I think you've got to have a really good, definitely 11, but probably about 15 or 16 world-class players in your team to beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the cup all relies on the luck of the game, doesn't it?
Definitely,
I mean, we've seen in previous times doing this database, Division 2 teams, or Tier 2 teams, should I say, win this cup.
Yeah, you only need... if you stay away from the big boys and they get knocked out by someone else, all of a sudden you find yourself in the quarter-final.
We're doing a terrible job of it at the minute, mind. But it is a possibility.
Yes,
I mean, the final this season, it was a double for Real Madrid. Yeah. They would have won this challenge already.
That's just squashed everything I've just said about that.
Yeah, and they beat Bayern Munich, who finished in 7th. Yeah. But nevertheless, we have seen it happen. Yeah. Now, goals, I think, is your worry, Dad.
100%.
You brought in Thierry. He only got 12. He wasn't even your top scorer.
No.
But he does look good, though.
Oh, he's getting better.
I mean, look at the growth as well, the arrows.
I've got to persevere with him and go with him.
Yeah,
I've
definitely.
got to try. It's just, I've got to get the ball into him.
Yeah.
Basically, I've got to get better players around him to get the ball into him.
Yeah.
And I think he'll do the business for me.
Yeah, I agree. You got players in around who are scoring and doing opportunities, but yeah, you need more of it. And that £48 million needs to be better spent this summer. So let's see who Dad brings in. Dad decided to begin bringing in players to improve his defence, and that started with a centre-back who can also play CDM too. He also brought in a rather cheap right-back that will immediately go into his first team for just £13 million. I also signed a right-back of my own in Connor Bradley for £50 million as I look to sell off the much older Ruslev. He's been a great asset for us, but getting just £10 million less than what I bought Bradley for, I think is a no-brainer because Bradley is a better player. Dad's next target though is Santos from Montpellier, who he hopes can unlock defences with his creativity, but he has to sell the Icelandic midfielder first to be able to afford him. I came across a player with a very low release clause that I had to activate before even scouting him, and at just 19 he looks fantastic. I also found myself a perfect centre-back to bring in as well. I just need to sell a player to create the funds to get the deal done. And Berg Jonsson was the sacrificial player that wasn't getting into my side no more that I could sell to Saudi Arabia. Before we knew it though, we were already in the first game of the season and I was picking up a loss against Atalanta. And so I dipped into the transfer market again to sign Fatakanti from Real Betis to get extra quality in the midfield. Dad's start to the season was quite impressive, and it was 3 3 wins out of 3 to kick things off. Although he should be ashamed of himself, losing 5-0 against Rennes. His new system, however, was picking up good results at the start of the season, and progression is certainly there. Added with the fact that some new faces are still coming in on loan on deadline day, which could really make the difference. They did decide to sell a couple of players here, Dad, but it helped you get some over the line.
The squad's just getting so big now. I just felt, well, just bite the bullet. I needed a few more million than what I had, so let them go out. I won't using them. I've got probably in the region of about 29-30 million next year. So I took that.
I mean, that has allowed you to really buy the centre-back that you got in Finn, who also plays CDM as well. So quite a good player.
Yeah, if he plays in 2 positions, it's ideal for my squad, really, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think, we learned from our mistakes last season where we got deals done before deadline day. You've got one done there on deadline day itself, which was a loan deal. Another centre-back who joined the club there, 3.5-star in terms of current ability at your side. But this guy was also quite good as well, Vali Cherka.
Yes, I'm pleased to get this guy in. He might not go right into the squad, but he's an ideal one to have just in case I get any injuries, anything like that. So, yeah.
Very similar to Junior Krupi in some ways.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think your best signing was Guillaume Santos.
Yeah.
22 million, plays naturally in centre mid or centre attacking midfielder. Weirdly, your coaches don't rate him any higher than a 3-star. I think he's better than that.
Well, when you look at that, especially his mentals and his physicals, he's quite good of a player, really. All right, he can't jump.
But when you look at it, every position for an advanced playmaker which is highlighted, it's only teamwork that isn't 15.
Yeah.
So, I sometimes I don't get the star rating.
Sometimes now and again, you just find that little gem, and he could be the little gem for me, for my team.
He did cost 22 million, so it wasn't like a little gem that's like, we've unearthed somebody.
22 million in this league is quite cheap.
Yeah, definitely. He's got 4 assists already and a goal, so not too bad. A good average rating for Guillaume Santos. You mentioned possibly changing... Well, you didn't mention it. We just got to assume... To be honest, knowing you that well, with that you've changed it, and you have, from the diamond gone to this more of a very similar to kind of what we've used in the past, but with 2 centre attacking midfielders.
That's the bit that I've changed because of the players I've got in.
Yeah, you got in 2 good centre attacking midfielders.
So you've got to take advantage of it, really, haven't you?
Yeah, Janssen stays in. Jelch you bought to go in the DM role, which is why you've nailed him into there, because he naturally goes in that centre-back role. But you got the loan sign of Cherka, Brooks, but of course we highlighted Santos can also go in there quite well. Vlap, of course, he was actually your top scorer last season. And then Thierry as a lone striker.
Yeah, I don't like locking players in as a rule, really, because you're stopping them from playing somewhere else. They've got, especially the ones that I'm buying, can play 2 or 3 positions. Yeah. So I've only locked the one into it, really. But yeah, I've got to be supplying this guy here. Yeah. That's why I've put 2 behind him now. Hopefully they'll supply him.
4 and 11. Is that closer to what you wanted?
No, I still want this. My main striker, he should be scoring at least
7 out of 11?
Yes, just over half of the goals that you score, he should be scoring them.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see what I've done in this window then, because I've signed yet another Liverpool fullback, £50 million. I sold Roslev for £40 million. He was really good for me in my first year, but he's 29. It was offers coming in. I thought, okay, I reckon I can find somebody better or just as good. So I decided to accept. He went to Celtic, and that allowed me to bring in Connor Bradley, who, younger, fought by 4 years, I actually think is better.
Yeah.
So he comes in for £50 million. He has 9 assists in 12 games.
There you go.
That's mental.
Yeah.
The fullbacks in my system are really important because they're my only width, really, that gives me. I've got a youngster, Marco Keys from Karlsruhe, £18 million. He looks quite special to begin with. 20 years of age, only 2.5 star, but plays naturally in 2 positions that I use. So, and of course, I got 3 behind the strikers. So that always helps. I think this is what's going to improve my team drastically, is finding players like, I say finding, it still cost me nearly 60 million, but finding players like this early on, because he's 19.
Yeah.
He's fantastic already. There's only a couple bits of weakness.
His physicals are so good for a 19-year-old.
Yeah,
and look
but
at
he's both foot.
Yeah. That's
it's crucial.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And in that position as well, because you can play on both sides. In that position, that's worth the money in gold, really, I think.
Yeah. Mental attributes at this age is disgusting. And the fact, you don't really find defenders with good work rates and teamwork. He has that already, which I'm really happy with. Yeah, position 17s.
Age.
And 17 bravery as well. So, yeah, I'm really happy with that signing. It has cost me a lot, but I'm making a lot. because of this database.
When you found that player, I'm sure it was something you said to me, and it was on the lines of, all right, it cost me that much, but it's the difference between winning and drawing a game was 2 million?
Yes. Yeah. If you draw a game in this database, it's 3 million. If you win the game, it's 5 million.
So if he keeps his team sheet a clean sheet,
I'm guaranteed 3 million.
yeah. But if you go, your front foot, your striker is so good.
Yeah.
He scores one goal.
That's it. So that was my thinking.
Yeah.
Fatakanti comes in as another DM who can actually play naturally centre back. Not that good, to be honest, but as a DM, I think he's actually going to be challenging the likes of Manu Kone in my side.
My team.
And then Adam Asnu, I needed just an extra body, to be honest, and he plays naturally on both sides. I think it was a smart move to make on loan. But we're sticking with the same formation. There's no need for me to change it. Rogers, I'm sticking in that position again. I think he did well last season. I want to see another year of development. And Miguel, I want him to play in that role. If I didn't, funny enough, he actually goes to the left, but Esteve goes there, and I kind of want Bartasaki there. So what I'm hoping is that putting him there, it either puts Esteve there or Mauri, who I already have, who's quite good, and then we can still have Bartasaki there. So that's my thinking anyway. So let's look at the schedules so far. We haven't played each other yet, which is okay, that's fine. It will happen only once a season. We know that. I started off bad with win, lose, and a draw in my first 3 games, but then it's picked up. I stole 2 players from Brighton last year. They got their own back. But they do have Samu Omarodion, who's one of my all-time favourite players in Football Manager, just in general, I think. Rennes, though, we beat the Rats. That's good. I'm happy with that one. A couple of goals there and a clean sheet. And look at the clean sheets as well. I am picking them up, so that I'm happy.
There you go, yeah.
Already through to the 3rd round, defeating Lugano 5-1. And I've got Ferencváros or Asteros. Whoever wins out of that game, that's who I've got in the 3rd round. Yourself, Dad. You haven't played your 2nd round game yet. It's not for another couple of months, which I do find really weird in this database. That it's like, oh, you have your 2nd round then.
Play all the
you have yours
games
2 months later.
In Gibraltar, don't they? And they only got one pitch in
That's
Gibraltar.
true, yeah. They're going to be fighting over the pitch. That pitch is just in constant use all the time. One day somebody plays the final game of the 2nd round, and then the next day somebody's already playing the 3rd round. It's mental. You lost now to Rennes.
Oh, they give me very talking.
They did as well,
But then I don't dislike Rennes. So I
mean, you should, or else you are not my father. You also lost to Brighton as well, but positives, there's a lot of green there.
Yes, so I've started a little bit better than I did last season, so I'm pleased with that.
Yeah, and in the Super League, we are a lot closer this time round. I'm on 28 points, you're on 26. Top of the league is only 33. Could we both be challenging this season?
I'll settle for mid-table. I'll settle for around about the 18th or the 19th position.
Yeah.
Just so I'm definitely away, but I've progressed a little bit further, so I'm pleased at the moment.
Okay, Erling Haaland thinks he can win the Golden Boot this year over Nelson Viper. I'd like to see you try, son. Let's see how this season progresses. Once again, it was an early exit for Dad in the Champions Cup, as Rangers were the club eliminating his 20 side by beating him 3-0 and scoring seconds after Dad's team missed a penalty to take the lead. I was progressing through nicely in the competition though, and found myself going up against Marseille in the 5th round. But it was my form in the Super League that was actually a lot more impressive, as the losses were very few and far between, which meant we were sat at the top of the league going into the new year, and a point ahead of Bayern Munich and Barcelona, with Real Madrid still knocking around too. The 5th round of the Champions Cup though was as far as I could get, as Marseille defeated us 3-2 in a very even game. Dad began picking up a bad run of games before then going and beating Real Madrid 2-0 away from home, but he had dropped down the table down into 15th place. Meanwhile, I was still gripping onto that 1st position, with Barcelona and Real Madrid chomping right behind. Dad was then majorly concerned that he had done me a big favour beating Madrid, and we then clashed ourselves just 10 days later, when Nelson Viper, who is now the top scorer, got the 1st and Nasi Univar bagged the 2nd for us to win 2-0. I had also got myself a good result against Real Madrid, however I was now in 2nd place behind Barcelona thanks to back-to-back losses against Frankfurt and Porto. As much as we tried to claw back that top spot as well, the results and luck were just not on my favour, as teams were scoring worldies against us. And even Nelson Viper began missing chances to pick up a lot of crucial points for us. But despite us not having enough to catch Barcelona, who won the Super League, the striker still picked up the Golden Boot with 45 goals in the competition. Death, taxes, and Nelson Viper wins the Golden Boot.
4 points. That's what I'm
And
looking at.
4 points off of the
There's
top.
3 teams with 101. Real Madrid being one of them. I mean, the other one, but you're there, mate, with your goal difference.
Yeah.
And that's why your goal difference is he's there again, the striker, isn't he?
Absolutely. 45 goals,
4
insane
points,
amount.
you're so much closer.
It's annoying,
Oh.
but at the same time, it's like, I'm there. But then it's like, oh, how many opportunities can you get at this point? Because it's just so difficult to win this.
Yes.
It is like winning the French league at some point when you're not PSG. But there we go. But I think we've got to highlight the fact that you've stepped up hugely in what we're actually calling the top half.
Yeah, I'm
15th.
Yeah.
So
I'm
really
so
good.
pleased with that. I mean, when you look at that one win, 83 points, that puts me up 4 places.
Yeah, and then you're
5
nearly in the
above
top 10.
Juventus, yeah, so I've got to
Really
be
good.
pleased with that.
24 wins in total as well.
Yes.
And you beat you beat Real Madrid away from home.
Look at the top teams I did beat there.
Yeah.
Tottenham, Spurs, Liverpool, Real Madrid,
Inter,
Napoli,
PSG. Yeah, huge wins.
I'm beating the top teams. I'm obviously losing against the bottom ones.
Yeah, it's a very progressive year for
Yes.
you because having more wins than losses is huge really in this first season or second season back. And the teams that are going down, some of them are big names as well. We've got to be really happy. What we can't be too pleased about is our performance in the Champions Cup. I got to the 5th round. You were in the 2nd round, Dad, knocked out by Rangers. Marseille was the team that knocked me out, which I'm not too happy with, which meant the quarter final they played Wolves in the 2nd tier and lost. And it's like, what? So Wolves then went on and got to the final, beating Tottenham in the semi and played Barcelona, who, yes, won the Super League. So 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
It's been a double.
Yeah.
Real Madrid last year, Barcelona this year have won both the Super League and the Champions Cup. Huge for Hansi Flick, who's still there. Their key player, by the way, Noah Darvic. Look at the development on that for 22. Sometimes he has it. Sometimes you just need to give him the game time.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that the players are developing really quickly in this database because of the game time. Because you can loan a player to a league below or 2 leagues below, and they're playing really good quality football.
Yeah.
And I think it goes to show again, everybody who always goes, oh, how do you get your players to develop so quickly? Play them.
Yeah.
Play them. Because Darvic is obviously, hazard a guess, loan deals? Yeah. So St. Gallen, he played in the 3rd tier, played 23 games. Then he went to Torino the season after, played 32 games in the 2nd tier. After that, Barcelona were playing him in the Super League. So it just goes to show that...
And he's got better each season. Though.
Yeah, game time. Yeah, what a season that is.
Yeah.
That's Junior Krupi levels. So really solid. And he's got a Super League title and a Champions Cup title for his name. But now some Viper, 45 goals to me in the 47 games. Huge amounts. Let's see what he's done in terms of the season. 46 and 47. He's got an injury though. He's torn his hamstring at the end of the season. He missed a couple of games there. Junior Krupi 20 and 8, which means Darvic was actually higher. Although, wanted by Chelsea. Surely you'd want to stay. Surely. Why would you want to go? James Rodgers. Got 14 assists, good amount of development again. Marco Keys, obviously, who I bought in the last season, was a bit of a bargain actually as well. He played quite a lot, 44 games in total, got 10 goals, 9 assists. Good average rating.
Yeah, you're going to be happy with that.
Yeah, not too bad. I think Univar I'm a bit disappointed with. Nobody's interested in buying him either. I might be stuck with him, to be honest. His value is kind of too high. I don't really expect anybody to come in for him. But the defender that I locked in, good development. I'm happy with that for the season. 6.8 average rating. Okay, that's fine. Dad, let's look at your squad. Did you get more goals this season? I'd say you did.
Just
The
really.
performances were better.
I finished higher in the league, so obviously I must have scored more goals. So, yeah.
Just
Not-
short of a 50% goal per game
Not
ratio.
as happy as I want to be, considering that I played him a lone striker. I'd expect that to be 30.
Yeah. This is what you've got to be worried about, though. He's wanted by 13 clubs, and he's unhappy because he wants to move to a stronger squad. Don't know whether he means strength-wise, as in lifting weights, or in terms of quality.
Don't really want to lose him, really, at the moment.
You have, interestingly, £40 million. If you wanted to sign Churka, you had a deal with them that you could get him for 48. And he's kind of classed as one of your best players.
It's one of those things,
It's a
isn't it?
decision to
If I
make.
go for him, that's all I get.
That's it. It hasn't necessarily
So
improved
it
your
doesn't-
team.
Yeah, it doesn't change my team from last season,
No.
does it? So that's the problem I got in it.
That's going to be an interesting one for you to decide this summer with your £40 million transfer budget.
And the club's still not giving me.
No, 55. I mean,
I've
but they're
asked
not.
them.
Yeah,
I've
they're
asked them
not.
and they won't change.
Let's see my finances though. So financially 222. I'm down to 60%. I don't know why they've put that down because weird. But I've got 102 million
Didn't
pounds.
you need 20 million in there as well?
I did, yeah. So they're just being greedy, I guess. Do I have any debts and loans? No, I'm not building a stadium or anything. 102 million pound in the transfer budget though. Good amount to spend. Okay. It's starting to heat up a little bit. That's that's 2 second place finishes and a 3rd place.
You could afford not to sell anybody.
Yeah, and just keep developing, yeah. But the Super League race is well and truly on. Dad is already catching me up though, so I kind of need to put my ideas up if I'm eventually going to stop flirting with the trophy and win one instead.